Practice is not a bad word. And I mention this today because one of the people that I work with occasionally was explaining that from his perspective, and he's probably right, practice is a word that drives a lot of people away. Because, I'm always trying to figure out how to explain what Gamketo Club's all about, what we do in and with and through Gamketo's practices, techniques, and methods. And in particular, it's a lot about practice. We practice game development in that club. But his concern is that in marketing wording, if I say that it's about practice, it's going to drive people away. And again, maybe he's right. But if we look at this word practice and what it means and what it actually is, practice is the doing of the thing. Right? If somebody says that they cook, and I'm like, well, how often do you cook? And they don't. They're not practicing cooking. They're not getting any better at it. They're not doing it. They don't really cook. They've just kind of tied it up in their identity in some sort of absurd way. Right? I mean, if someone says that they're, what does it mean if someone tells me that they're a non-practicing vegetarian? That's a joke that they're obviously not actually a vegetarian. And there's several other life choices, pathways, cultural identities someone might fit into: a non-practicing Catholic, non-practicing Jewish person, non-practicing Baha'i, non-practicing whatever faith we might think of. Is someone goes out of their way to say that to distinguish themselves from someone who practices those things. And it's not even a criticism in that case of which choice someone makes. It's simply that to say that we're not practicing the thing is distinctly different from if we are practicing what it's about. If someone tells me that they play basketball or play an instrument, and I'm like, well, how often do you practice? And their answer is they don't. Then they don't actually play basketball or the instrument. They don't. That's the practicing is the doing of the thing. Right? And so when I meet people who identify as game developers, and if I ask them, how often do you make games? And sometimes the answer reveals that they in fact practice game development. They're getting better at it. They're doing it with some regularity, with some consistency. They're fitting into their schedule. They're game developers. They're developing games. And the same way someone who bowls is a bowler. Someone who runs is a runner. They're practicing bowling. They're practicing running. And if someone says to me that they're a game developer, but they say when, how often, and are you, and do you, and have you been building games? And the answer is they don't. Without any offense intended, but purely objectively and critically looking at what these terms mean, they're not a game developer. They're not developing games. That's what comes out of the practice of being a practicing game developer. And so, I don't think that in the scope of one short chat video, this is going to suffice to change how people use the word or what they read into the word. But it does help surface why and when I keep bringing up practice as a critical concept to how we change our lives and move ourselves forward and develop our skills and build up our identities and strengthen our confidence. That's why I keep choosing the word practice. And I know it drives a certain amount of people away. Right? I mean, you're never going to see Nike up there on a television commercial saying, Nike, practice running. Nike, practice sports. Adidas, practice soccer. Right? Because plenty of people out there who buy and wear and walk around in those sneakers, Nike products, Adidas products, don't practice anything. They don't practice running, don't practice the sport, and that's fine. Right? It's not an objective criticism of them, but it is maybe of the brands that are for people who think of themselves that way, not for people who really do it. Gamketo is for people who actually do it, who are actually building games, who are improving their skills, who are practicing game development, who are stretching themselves, who are consistently fitting in that time, consistently have tangible progress to show what they're doing. That's a choice that we make. And if it's not for everybody, that's fine too. But whatever it is you're after doing, if it's you're after writing, doing art, programming, leadership, speaking, whatever it is, practice is how you're going to, A, be getting better at it, B, is the actual measure of whether or not you're really doing the thing, if you're practicing doing it. That's it for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. By the way, also, I had some feedback just a few days ago about my lighting. My video is looking a little too washed out. Trying some changes here to the camera settings, video editing software, and other stuff. This might be too dark today, might be too light. I'd be curious to hear in the comments below if it looks too bright or too dark, or it looks about right, just in terms of lighting, washout. Let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate that feedback. Always trying to improve here. And then secondarily, too, what do you practice? I just love to hear out there. And I realize, for a lot of people watching my videos, it's game development, but not for everybody. What is it you practice? What are you fitting in time at least once a week? Maybe more than that, hopefully. But consistently able to show tangible progress on doing. And, what are you practicing? Curious to hear from you. Thanks always for tuning in. Have another video for you tomorrow.